Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got something a little bit different really. Now this is the new Seiko Prospex Speedtimer, and this version here is kind of very reminiscent of the old Sportura model they used to have. But this is more a sort of like revamped version of it, and I think it looks absolutely stunning. It's not one of these watches normally I would say I go for, being that it is actually a solar powered watch. My normal problem with those kind of watches is they feel incredibly light and lack substance. But this one, I must admit, is a little bit different. It has some proper heft to it. It really feels like a kind of a solid timepiece, if that makes sense. I really do think the overall, it's got presence and it's got a bit of weight behind it. But anyway, before we get too far into review, I've got to say a massive thank you to Ryan and the team over at Francis Gaye for allowing me to review this watch. They've got a massive amount of stock. They're authorised dealers for so many different brands. So if you're in the Midlands area of the UK, it's well worth popping in. If you're a little bit further afield, check out their website and I'm sure they'll be able to work you out a deal. So anyway, let's talk sizes of this. It's a 42mm case by 12.9mm thick and a lug-to-lug of just over 48mm, I believe it is. And the bracelet size on this is 20mm. Now, being that it's got that lug size, it is actually a surprisingly comfortable watch to wear. I really like this. But anyway, let's check out this dial. The dial is where it all happens here. It is absolutely superb. It's got that really cool vibe to it. And it's got some really cool functionality as well. So as we see, we've got this kind of brushed area here running along. Now this watch is available in a few other colours. There's even a black PVD, I think, to celebrate the games at Budapest at the moment, and it does look really good. I like the fact that it's got a bit of depth to it as well. You can see the top subdials are slightly raised, and yet the outer bezel is to it anyway, and then the dial part is sunken down, and you got these really nice brushed hands going on there, and the actual timekeeping side of it is down this larger subdial at the 9 o'clock position. Now one thing I would say, which is a bit weird and wonderful, is this on here, the adjust mode and so forth. Do you really need them on there? I'm not quite sure, but it looks cool anyway. Let me show you the actual chronograph in its entirety here. So if we press this here, everything goes to 0. Now start, and check that hour, check that hand fly round there. It's unbelievable. It is so fast. If I stop it, so we can look at the top there, and that's saying, what is it, just coming on for 8 seconds, is that? Let me just check. Yeah, so 8.52 seconds. So you can actually measure down that far by using these subdials to do it. And what's nice as well, if let's reset that for a second, start it again. Now, let's say you're going to time sync, which is a little bit longer. You can go back to your time mode. So this is telling you the actual data, the actual time. Now, if we go back, it actually goes back to where it was. So not only, it doesn't stop the chronograph in any way. You do have a split timer there. So if we click this back, you should see the second hand jump forward. There you go. And I just think it's cool. It's absolutely mad. I think it really is very cool. Let's reset that and go back to time. I think that is just really cool. The hands are quite interesting on here. You've got the painted dots on there, but for some reason I think because it's only a 60-minute, the hour hand, which is only ever time, is a polished hand on there. Now there is actually loom on this watch, but it's only on the timekeeping side of it. The loom is good, but there isn't a heck of a lot of it, so I don't know quite how long it will last. We'll have to see. One thing I did notice on this, which is a little bit of a shame, is when you look around here, you can see the colour behind. So this raised section of the dial coming round, and on this side, you can't really. You can see a tiny bit at the top, but not so much around the side. So that could be a little bit better, I have to say. But overall, I think it's great. This watch, obviously it's a quartz model, but it's a solar powered. Whereas the older model, the Sportura, sorry, was a kinetic. And kinetics can be a problem because if you don't use them all the time, the capacitors can die down and they're not the best when it's a watch in your collection, let's say. But this being that it's solar is perfect. After a full charge, I believe they keep something like 6 months of charge. Now, obviously, as we come past this, we have a sapphire crystal. It does have AR coating on the inside. It looks like it's single domed because you're getting that distortion going on there. The actual casework, it's just nice. It's all this nice satinized finish running around here. It just looks and feels nice and solid. Obviously, we have these pushers here and we have a crown here. Reason for this is it's not a screw down crown, though it does have 100 meters of water resistancy, which is very good. If I pull this out, see how that moves? Now, if I turn it, it advances 1 minute. Now, if I go a little bit faster, let's say we go backwards, and you see how it starts motorized, and that's it. It starts coming round like that. And I think it is superb. I've got a little bit of a soft spot for this watch. Even though it's a quartz, I actually quite like it. Now, the bracelet, well, actually, let's go case back. Obviously, the case back on this, nothing to write home about. It's not a display case. Obviously, it's quartz movement under there. But, yeah, solid case back, screwed down type, so all okay. The bracelet on this is actually quite decent. It's got a nice solid feel to it. I believe it is going to be pin and collar system. I'm presuming I haven't took it apart, so can't say. The clasp is a milled out clasp, dual fold over type, so it is quite very solid feeling and a very nice positive click. Only downside, there is only 2 levels of micro adjustment, which is a little bit of a shame. It's always nice to have a third on there. That way you can set it for in the middle and, you know, you've got one either side of that. But overall, I think this is just quite a funky, cool watch. Let's zoom out and put it on my wrist and have a look. Quick wrist check. I'm wearing a Rolex Kermit. I've had for years now. And one thing for size, actually, they're not. You know, when you see there's not that much difference. That's a 40 and obviously a 42. Mr. Bob, what are you wearing? Oh, he's gone very funky. Let me pronounce that right. Meinzinger. Single hand watch. That's coming up for review shortly. That's very cool. Now, my wrist size is 7¼ inches. Now, I haven't sized it. So I'm surprised. I thought you might get a little bit more on the bracelet there, but it'll probably cover you up to, I'd say, 8 inches. I'm guessing. But on the wrist, I think that looks great. The 48mm of the lug-to-lug makes it very wearable, even on smaller wrists. But I think that looks absolutely superb. And it hunkers down quite well on the wrist, so it's not a particularly big watch. But I must say, I like it. When I looked at a price for this watch, I think the RIP is £760. I dare say there's a deal to be had there as well. But I was quite surprised. I thought this was going to be more expensive than that. So I'm actually quite impressed with this one. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave you to it. And most importantly, stay safe out there. All the best. Bye.